Hi, I'm Jude. Do you like yogurt, cheese, ice cream, or a cold glass of milk? I do for sure. All right. Americans eat and drink a ton of dairy products like these, and people who work in the dairy industry help feed the world every day. Today we're at McCarty Family Farms near Rexford, Kansas. They have 3 dairies in Kansas and another one in Ohio, and they milk nearly 20,000 cows a day. Wow, that's a lot of cows. This dairy near Rexford is their family's headquarters, and it even has a visitor center where people can learn about milk story from soil to cup. Today we're going to explore what it's like to be a dairy farmer. Let's go! I'd like to introduce you to Ken, the youngest of the 4 McCarty brothers, the owners of McCarty Family Farms.
Nice to meet you, Jude, and welcome to McCarty Family Farms.
Well, thanks for hosting us today. I'm super excited to learn more about the dairy industry because 1, I totally love ice cream, and 2, I think it's really cool to have a job in agriculture. It's the industry that feeds the world.
Well, I'm glad that you think agriculture is cool because I personally think I have one of the coolest jobs in the world. And every day on a farm, it's a new adventure, and there's always a lot of work to be done. But I think that work is really important because every day people have to eat.
So what are some of the things you do here every day?
Well, my number 1 job is to take care of cows. And that means making sure that they have fresh feed and water at all times, that their beds are clean and soft and comfortable for them to lie in and relax with their herd mates. The other thing that I do here is I work really closely with genetic experts. Our cows only give milk after they have a calf, and that means working with experts to ensure that the next generation is better than the last is absolutely vital to our success. The most important thing that we do here, though, is just let cows be cows.
What does that mean, just let cows be cows?
That means getting out of her way and letting her do what she wants to do. Our cows here only spend about 1 hour every day in the milking parlor. The rest of the time they spend here in their pen, eating, drinking, resting, and hanging out with their friends.
Eating and hanging out with their friends? I'm pretty good at those things too.
Me too, buddy. Come on, I'll show you around some more.
Cool.
Okay, so before I take you to go visit the milking parlor, I do have a few cool facts about cows to share with you though.
Great, I've got tons of questions. I've never been to any place like this.
Well, I have some cool facts for you. Okay, fact number 1. Did you know that cows have a stomach with 4 special compartments, not 1 like we do? And that special stomach helps them digest different things that you and I can't eat. That means a cow is a ruminant. And ruminants are very special animals. And that every cow on our farm eats about 100 pounds of feed every day, and that's the equivalent of almost 300 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Wow, okay. Asking how many stomachs a cow had was not one of my questions.
I bet it wasn't, but that special stomach is what makes those cows super efficient recyclers of food that we can't eat and makes them produce a lot of milk. But fact number 2, did you know that we've got thousands of black and white cows here, and those cows are called Holsteins? And even though no 2 Holsteins have the same spots, it can still be hard to tell them apart.
So their spots are like human fingerprints? No 2 are exactly alike?
That's exactly right.
So do the cows have names?
Well, not names like you and I would think. The names that the cows have are names that represent our family's farm name, as well as the bull who's the cow's father, and then a number that would correlate to who her mother was, or a unique ID number that's kind of like our social security number. All that information attaches to their unique ID number, which is attached to their electronic tag.
So I'm guessing they don't come running if you call their names?
Well, when it's milking time, they'll come to the parlor no matter what you call them. So last fact. All of our cows have customized diets, just like professional athletes. And we change what they eat depending on how old they are and whether or not they're producing milk. So our cows milk for only about 10 months out of the year. And during that time period, they're fed a very special diet to help them produce lots of healthy, nutritious milk.
I'm guessing they don't eat PB&Js?
No sandwiches for our cows, pal. Our cows get fed by a special cow nutritionist. And that cow nutritionist helps us formulate diets that are specific to each cow's needs. And what they end up eating is basically like a cow casserole. And in that cow casserole are things like grains, like corn or soybean meal, vitamins and minerals to help keep them healthy and happy, and a lot of grasses like alfalfa hay or corn silage. And corn silage is the one we chop the green corn plant and pack it up into a pile real nice and tight and allow it to ferment. It's kind of like cow sauerkraut.
Gross. I'll stick to PB&Js. How much milk does one cow produce each day?
On our farm, our cows produce about 100 pounds of milk each day. That's almost 12 gallons. And we ship all of our milk to a plant that turns it into yogurt. All that milk that she produces every day is enough to make about 250 servings of yogurt.
That's a lot of yogurt.
That is a lot of yogurt. Now, you ready to go to the milking parlor to see where all the magic happens?
Sure. Am I dressed okay? I've never been to a milking parlor before. It sounds kind of fancy.
Well, it's not as fancy as you think it is, pal, but I've got all the stuff you need. Let's go.
Before we went into the milking parlor, Ken gave me boots and gloves to make sure I didn't track in any harmful germs. The first thing that has to be done is to bring in the cows. Ken says it's important that they do this quietly, calmly, and on schedule when the cows are ready to be milked. They bring them into the holding area first, and then the cows pretty much just wait their turn to step onto the milking carousel. The cows knew just what to do and were happy to do it. The McCarty Family Dairy has one of the newest and coolest milking carousels in the world, installed in late 2022. They call it a carousel because it's sort of like a merry-go-round the cows ride. It takes about 3 or 4 people plus 2 robots to operate it. The first task is to clean the cows' teats at the udder prep station. They have a wet brush and a dry brush to make sure they are clean and ready for the next step. At the next station, the milker is put in place and is on for about 5 minutes. The system can tell when the cow is done and will automatically remove the milker. Finally, the last step is where the robots are put to work. They spray a light mist of sanitizer on her teats to protect and condition before she steps off the carousel and heads back to the barn. The whole thing takes less than 10 minutes, and each cow does it 3 times a day.
Well, Jude, what'd you think?
That was super cool. I had no idea you could use robots to help milk cows. This is delicious. Is it really made with milk from this farm?
Yeah, it really is. And you know, I think it's pretty cool when I go to the grocery store and I know that the milk in that product was made on this farm. Okay, so you've seen the cows getting milked, but there's more stuff we do before the milk leaves the dairy. Before the milk can leave our farm, it has to be cooled to lock in the freshness. When it leaves the cow, it's about 99 degrees, and our cooler rapidly brings it to about 35 degrees before it goes onto the milk tanker truck. Every truck that leaves our farm is quality and safety tested. Then our milk will go through our milk condensing plant around the corner and onto the yogurt plant where additional quality and safety checks are completed before it's pasteurized and turned into yogurt. Okay, let's go see the rest of the dairy.
So Ken, you know so much about cows in the dairy industry. How did you learn all this stuff?
Well, you know, my brothers and I started helping our parents on our family's farm as soon as we could start walking. But you know, I didn't really learn all about the science of dairy farming until I went to college at Kansas State University, where I majored in animal science with an emphasis in dairy. College really helped me to understand what I'd been doing my entire life. Dairy farming changes as new technologies are invented, like our fancy milking carousel in there. When my brothers and I were younger, we would never have dreamed about milking cows the way we do today, and we never could have imagined all the different jobs that come with it. You know, dairy farming is way more than just milking cows.
What are some of the other jobs people have on this dairy farm?
There are tons of jobs here besides the professionals who take care of our cows. And of course, we need a lot of them too. We have about 200 total team members on our farm.
So if I wanted to work here someday, what can I do now to get a head start?
We always tell students to follow their passions and to pursue training in the career that you might want to go into, but just learn about agriculture in general. A great way to do that would be to join 4-H or FFA. They're super fun and they're a great way to learn about all things agriculture.
Great, I'm in 4-H, so I'm one step closer to becoming a dairy farmer.
Right on, buddy. Now before you leave, there's one more thing that I'd like to tell you that I'm super proud of about our farms.
Cool.
So you know, besides taking care of our cows, we try really hard to take care of our land and conserve our water resources as well. Because you know, if we don't have a healthy planet, we can't have healthy cows or healthy people. So it's really important to our family to do everything we can to make sure our farm doesn't have a negative impact on the environment. And you can learn more about all of this on our website.
That's really awesome, Ken. I'll definitely check that out. I'm super impressed with everything I've learned today. Thanks so much for showing me around.
You bet.
I'd like to thank Ken and the entire team at McCarty Family Farms for teaching me more about what it's like to be a dairy farmer. There's way more to this job than you might think. You and your family should take a trip here to check out the visitor center and see the dairy for yourself. Learn more at McCartyFamilyFarms.com. In the meantime, be sure you visit HirePaths.com to explore other cool jobs in Kansas. Until next time, this is Jude signing off near Rexford for Cool Careers. Have a great day.
Yeah, gotta gloss the lips up and drink too much coffee.
Do you like yogurt, cheese, ice cream, or a cold glass of milk? All right, like that.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was great.